on, Wolfpack Nation? Thank you so much for tuning in back in with us here. As we got another episode today where we're going to be a little bit upfront with you again. I think it's a conversation that obviously everybody throughout Wolfpack Nation is having right now. There's so much good going on right now. First of all, I do have to say that. But obviously, unfortunately, there's a big bad out there that we do really want to get into, because obviously we have not really had a huge chance to really just to devote one period of time toward this, and that's obviously men's basketball right now. So, but before we get rolling into it, make sure again, if you haven't already, make sure again, hit that subscribe button so that way you don't miss out whenever we release any new NC State content. And also to give this video a like so that way more NC State fans will be able to see this video. And also to give us a follow at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter and Instagram. That being said though, so again, obviously it's been a frustrating year so far. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And again, this is being recorded on February 24th, so the Carolina game has not happened yet. But we're 11-17 right now, 4-13 in the ACC. Pretty much tied or dead last in the ACC right now. It's the first time in Keats' era where we're below 500 in the ACC. So it's a lot of frustration right now, and it's really building up. But Megan, kind of give us your immediate thoughts so far.
Well, for first off, I thought about wearing a paper bag over my head coming and recording this episode, but I didn't. That would have been a little too far. Maybe down the road. But
there's still time.
There's still time. Plenty of time left to have that happen. No, but man, it's. I mean, we were kind of talking about this even before we recorded. I mean, the guys play hard. And it's just poor basketball. I mean, I don't know how to say it. I mean, like, I can't say that a ton about Sebron and Smith, or at times Helms. Last night was not one of those times, but I mean, Smith scored 21 points, had 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Sebron had 20 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Those two guys scored 41 points, and you lost by 8 points to a Boston college. And I remember there weren't many games left on the schedule where I thought State really has a chance. I mean, a part of me kind of thinks the way Carolina has been playing somewhat lately at times that it's kind of like the 1 in a million quote from Dumb and Dumber where you're saying there's a chance. But I thought Boston College was a game we should have had, and it's at home
for sure.
And
we were favored by 6.
Down by 2 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Lose by 8.
Took a lead.
To what?
Yeah, took the lead.
We took a lead.
Yeah. And it's just sad, man. It's just sad. Like, I don't know. We've belabored over this, and I know fans. It's just like you're just kind of numb to it. Like it's just so many fans I think are checked out at this point, and the true fans are still watching, and that's really great. And the guys still practice hard every day. They deserve your support, but I don't think it's the players' fault. I think it's a lot to do with coaching, and man, and I don't know how if you're Boo Corrigan, you go another year, unless it's a money thing. I think he's gonna be basically saying. No. We're not willing to pay $10.8 million because Keats' contract is $2.7 with 4 years left. So maybe we're more willing to pay, 8.1 versus 10.8, excuse me. But I don't know, man. I'm not really too fond of how things are going, and it's just kind of, I don't know. I'm kind of done with that. That's where you can tell by my tone of my voice how I'm feeling.
It's really just, again, and we'll kind of get into it a little bit, but it's just a lot of little things, and obviously I know for me, as long as I've known you, Macon, you've been NC State men's basketball through and through for forever. So to hear the frustration really, I think speaks volumes really. But Greg, do you have anything to build on that? Kind of opening statement wise. I know again we got a lot of conversation left, but opening statement wise.
Yeah, I mean, Macon's spot on. I mean, I've only known you guys, I've known you a little bit longer than Leighton, but I mean, the few conversations we've had, even off air, Macon's all in on basketball. And so for him to just be like, wah, wah, it's just, it's depressing. I mean, I still watch the games. I'm fully invested. watching, but not fully invested in my heart, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I watch to keep up with it, so I can talk about it, obviously. But other than that, I'm just like, okay, well, we only got a few more to get through this one. Hey, basketball is done. Hey, we're back to baseball, and we got women's basketball. Like,
It's kind of like
so,
this. Can the season just
team,
end soon enough? It can't end soon enough right now. It feels like it sounds terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, just put me out of my misery so I can move on to something happier.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
like I truly want to cheer. Again, to your point, Macon, it's not the kids on the team. It's they're out there working hard, trying to get better. It's the adults in the room. I feel like the bigger adults. I guess they're all adults technically at this point, but it's just, I don't know. I like Megan said, I'm just numb to it.
Well,
I just watch it and just don't even really understand what I'm watching.
Well, and I kind of look, when I say it's not the kids, I mean, a guy like Jericho Helms, I mean, him being a senior and him being here as long as he has, I feel like that you can't really, like, with him, you can't necessarily blame coaching as much, just because, again, he's been here before. He knows what it takes. And also, too, we've seen it before. Like, like at this point, like, he shouldn't have to rely on coaching. We should be able to rely on him, like, that's really my true thought. But, it's because, again, that's really like when I look at Keats, that's one issue I have, where I even look at a guy like Helms and I look at what he's done 2 years ago compared to last year compared to now, and it's a downward trend, and it's like, how can that happen? So, but yeah, and because one thing I wanted to kind of touch on, obviously, is the talk about the injuries. And obviously, as if yesterday wasn't bad enough, or you losing to Boston College, hearing that Thomas Allen's out for the year with an injury, it was just like, it wasn't necessarily like that. Necessarily, Thomas Allen's like a huge loss, but it's a loss to our depth, and it's a loss to of a player that he had a role. Like, he was effective at times on the court, and so but again, it's just like, oh my gosh, we just cannot escape this year. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's a strength and conditioning issue. I don't know what it is, but just golly, all of a sudden everybody's bones is made out of like toilet paper. Like that's
It might
that's
be
the only
something like
explanation.
Doran's, what was it, 2018 year season? Was that the one that was 19? I can't remember which one it was. That one
19,
season where we went
19,
4-8. We had so many injuries. We were terrible. But the thing with that is Doran's, had shown that he had been progressing the whole time except for that 1 year. That was the 1 year was the anomaly. But with Keats, it has just been a steady decline. We keep harping on this, and almost I'm kind of tired talking about it. But I don't know, guys. I was just thinking, or you like when you mentioned players. I think you made a good point, Leighton, with Helms. You need coaching there, but he's a senior. Like, you shouldn't have to be like. Every player needs to be coached. Like, LeBron James still needs coaching sometimes. Like, it's I don't really know, but Kevin Durant needs coaching. Michael Jordan needed some coaching, but Helms, he's a senior. You should have to rely on him. You should have, okay, he's good for 10, 12 points a night. And he had 8 points last night, but he played 34 minutes and he had 8 points. I mean,
not enough.
No.
Are you now? I was curious what you guys think about this. Like, so I mentioned earlier, Smith had 21, Sebron had 20. Which is the bigger disappointment? Is it in? To me, is it Helms, like I mentioned, with 34 minutes and 8 points? Now, he had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. He had 4 fouls, 2 turnovers. So 8 points, 34 minutes for Helms. Or are you more disappointed? Not trying to sway one or the other, but Casey Morsell, 32 minutes, 6 points. Cam Hayes, 18 minutes, 2 points. Breon Pass, 11 minutes, 0 points. Duwana, we kind of know we get with him, but he played 33 minutes and had 4 points.
Yeah.
I mean, those all pile up, but what are your thoughts? Because I can tell you mine, kind of where I'm at with what's more disappointing, but what are y'all's thoughts?
I'm going to jump right into it and say that at the end of the day, I think it is very clear that you look at the last, all right, so let's look at like the last 10, 12 years or so. Let's look at some of the great point guards that we've had. We've had Lorenzo Brown. We've had Cat Barber. We've had Markel Johnson, and now And you look at those years, and honestly, I truly do believe. And we were talking on a space earlier today, and they made a great point saying, I truly that it really makes sense that I think Markel Johnson really kind of hid a lot of the weaknesses of our team because he was that good. I truly do believe that.
He'll be one of the most underrated point guards we've ever had.
I agree. I
it. In 20 years, people are going to forget about Markel Johnson. And I hate to say that. 10 years, they might forget about him. People have already started to forget about Lorenzo Brown at times. Not really, but kind of. I just think, Markel Johnson was way better than people gave him credit for. And he kept getting better.
Well, and Markel could do everything. I mean, he got a lot of rebounds. Like, that was a piece of his game that a lot of people, like, unsung. Yeah, I mean, he would, you get in there and scrap a little bit. He could distribute. He could shoot. If you needed a three, his biggest downfall was he didn't shoot enough.
True.
Like he was great at distributing, but he didn't. He
could take over
a
game,
and so
I mean, not credit like Sebron and Breon. I mean, not Breon, Sebron and Smith. They totally can too, but
sure,
they're not playing the point guard position.
but I think to Leighton's point, you don't have a floor general.
You do not have a floor general.
You don't have anyone direct.
And I totally thought
traffic.
Cam Hayes would be that.
Oh yeah. No, well, obviously Keats did too. Otherwise, he wouldn't have really basically gone all in on Cam Hayes instead of Shaquille Moore, And so it's that's my biggest disappointment. That's my biggest frustration is because going into this, we said in the preview that Cam Hayes makes or breaks this season for us. I truly do believe that. If Cam Hayes steps up, we have a solid season. If he doesn't,
a little bit. Yeah,
because again. Because if you don't have him, who else do you have really to run the point guard? Breon Pass.
Well, Sebron. That's what I'm getting at. But it's not.
But Sebron's not a point guard.
But Sebron's not a one.
I get that, and that's why we have space to debate.
We're not attacking you. Sorry.
I like the back and forth. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think he's got a fair point. I don't know if it's all of it, but it's a really good argument. It's a really good argument that if Cam Hayes is probably part of it, I think Cam's a really nice guy. Don't get me wrong.
We're not talking
want to
personal
see him
here.
do well. Yeah, I know, but it's just he's not getting the job done.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But again, to my question, which is more disappointing of the performances? Is it Helms? Is it Hayes? I guess your answer, Leighton, is it's Hayes for you?
Yeah, Hayes, definitely. Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Well, last night it would be Helms.
That's where I was going to go. Because, again, he's your senior. Like, he's your starter. He's your pillar on this team. And you get, 6 points, 8 points, 4 points. Now, sometimes you might get 20, but you can't count on him.
Here's the other thing. I don't see a lot of emotion.
No.
Like, let's go. Come on. I get it. Not everyone's a rah-rah guy. I get it. But, I mean, when you're making a run in a second half of close games, or you just need someone just to say, hey, we got this, guys. Just to regroup them, when you're down, when the other team makes a run, for instance. That's not always the coaches' jobs. You need a team leader to go, all right, let's settle down. We got this. Let's take a breath. We'll be all right. And I don't see a lot of that. And again, maybe it's being done. Maybe they just don't have the cameras on the kids. But it just doesn't feel to me that's happening at all.
He does sometimes. Sometimes he'll give a nice dunk. I'll kind of do this kind of thing, and it's but
that's more for him.
He's kind of like he's flexing on the guy. But if he has no emotion, guys don't have emotion. The guys know. They feel it more than we do. They hate going in front of that crowd and getting, booed or whatever at times. They hate that. And I personally, I don't think should be booing them. They know.
No way.
I mean, that's a whole different take. No,
I'm not a booing guy.
These are kids, and you're demoralizing.
Yeah, they're not professional athletes.
I got a personal. I've heard about one player in particular on this team who has had a hard time. I know because, and my thing is, it's Power 5 basketball. You got to get over it. You have thick skin. Put in the work. changing
Yep,
minds because
exactly.
the fans are fans. But to me, it's Helms. I mean, you can't get mad at Jalen Gibson for losing 7 minutes, 0 points because you know what you get with Jalen Gibson. He's still developmental. Breon Pass, 11 minutes, 0 points. Yeah, you play 11 minutes. I expect you to get something for me, but I mean, he had 3 rebounds. But, I'm not banking on Breon Pass. I'm banking on Helms. I'm banking on Smith and Sebron. And I'm almost could say you could argue Morcell. You played Morcell's 32 minutes and his 6 points. Now, he just transferred in. Maybe, I don't know, he was injured this season.
Had injuries earlier.
But,
yep.
I just kind of I don't know, guys. That's where I'm at. I think Cam Hayes you can get upset with because he played 18 minutes, 2 points, but he's your point guard. I think it's a fair argument, Leighton. State needs a floor general. State needs a center. State needs a finosher. I'm
hearing a lot of needs.
I guess finisher they have in Sebron, but they need to. I don't know. They kind of have a closer, finisher in Sebron, but they don't. You can't count on anybody. Like, it's a gamble who's going to show up every night, and that's not cutting it, especially from a guy like Helms, who's a senior.
Right. Well, go ahead, Greg.
No, I was just going to say back to Macon. Like, we don't. Our best 3-point shooter is Smith. Like, okay, but
how
he's
bad
still.
would it be without him?
He's a good 3-point shooter.
Him?
Exactly, and that's exactly where I was going with it. If you don't have Smith, who, by the way, just became the all-time
3-point freshman shooter.
Been more 3 points on his show, yeah. So shout out to Smith there for that record. Granted, it's not a very old record because 3 points only been around for about 40 years. So
basketball's still a long time ago. I get what you're saying.
But 3-pointers, though.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So
it's not 100.
But we've had great shooters come through. So that's But yeah, and especially in today's philosophy, and especially in what Keats' system is supposed to be, is very guard oriented. You need shooters, and that's one thing that we don't really have a lot of.
No,
like we just
specifically shooters that are making your shots.
Well, yeah, they all shoot, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
But if that's going to be your philosophy, then you need to go recruit shooters that are going to make the shots. Apparently,
I'm joking.
But
I'm joking.
Yeah. No, I know it was really good actually.
No.
But I mean, so if that's your identity, then make it your identity. Like, own it. And that's another thing we could probably get into is what is the identity of this team supposed to be? I still haven't figured it out.
Well, because really this team right now really comes down to 2 players. And like the last couple games before Boston College, Sebron kind of went into a little bit of a drought there. And then there's been times where Big T's had his droughts as well, which is, understandable because he's a freshman, and there's no doubt that, you look at the season, you've seen plenty of times where he's forced shots that he should not be forcing that have ended up in easy baskets. So again, unfortunately, that's the problem with this team is that I think that with Keats, he loves depth. He loves having options. He loves having fresh players. And this year, really, it is just, all right, Big T, Sebron, I hope you can win this game for us. Like, that's been it. And because also, too, I think that it's perfectly clear that as much as I love Duwani, as much as I respect Duwani, because he has stepped up hugely in a tough situation. I don't know if he, can really ever be a true ACC starter. I don't know yet.
We said that about Manny Bates too. So
I was going to say the same thing. Manny showed that same in his freshman
year. Okay, let's put it this way.
But Duwano's a sophomore. I understand that,
so it's just, all right, let's put it this way. Heading into next season again, there's no doubt that again we need a point guard. We need somebody that we can trust. And I don't want to get like a freshman point guard that's
LJ Thomas coming in is not going to cut it. And
no. I need a grad transfer point guard. I need somebody that is experienced, man. I need somebody that I can throw.
You basically say, here's your selling point. You can start right away and play 40 minutes if you want to.
Yeah.
We need the male version of either Diamond Johnson or Reina Perez.
Along with. But right.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just talking about the point guard.
I'm saying get both, sure.
Both of them transferred in. You know what I mean? Like, those players can be out there. You just got to go find that diamond in the rough.
I'm just saying because then right now, all right, let's put it this way. Keats next year, for me is absolute. We need to see something next season. Because I'm a person too that honestly I keep on looking at the season with Dilly Dilly in 2023 coming in like, oh, that's going to be the season. But I've honestly gotten to this
Can't
point
bank
where I'm
on
like,
it.
hey, listen, if I don't see progression from a program overall next season, there is not going to be a 2023, guaranteed.
Well,
There's
my thing
no
is
way.
though, like how do you go? I mean, like, like I said this again. I still think Keats is going to get another year out of respect for
Yes.
NCAA, but we keep losing, and I'm keep thinking, how do you give him another year? Like, he's
I know.
1-8 at home. Like, that's terrible, and that's not.
That's
and then
bad.
like we talked about this before. Manny Bates is like it's not the problem. It's not. It's. I mean, you would have won more games, sure, but team
Absolutely.
may have more confidence from winning more games. You mentioned earlier there's no emotion. Helms had emotion. I mean, I would be having a hard time getting pumped myself up if I keep losing. So,
Oh, no doubt.
but I just don't see how you. I'm having a hard time rationalizing how Boo Corrigan could say, yeah, let's give him another year. Let's just see if he can do it. Like, fans are kind of already like, come on, man. Like, we're not bought in anymore, and you're kind of going to lose a fan base. And to his position, maybe some respect as an AD a little bit. I know he had like a ruffling of the feathers with the baseball
Publishers.
team, how that was handled. I don't know. Some people are gonna knock him if he keeps Keats, but I don't think anybody would blame him if he let him go. So
Keats is going to have a great offseason.
No.
He's going to have a great offseason. He's going to bring in, so he's got to bring in some players that bring excitement to the fan base. Like,
I
oh
feel
man,
bad about this.
we
Like,
got him.
yeah,
Can I
Please go,
just,
Greg.
how many transfers have we really brought in? Because I looked this up earlier today. Since we brought in from Keats' era that have been impactful.
impactful. I could tell you.
only
who
been
the
about
recruit-
3 or 4.
transfers have been. Impactful would be. I can't even think who it would be.
So you got Freeman.
Al
You
Freeman.
brought in Freeman.
Oh, Al
Larry
Freeman.
Freeman.
Yeah.
Freeman.
Oh, yeah, no.
He was
Al Freeman, yes. Very impactful.
Thunderberg.
Yeah, I forgot
Very
about Thunberg.
impactful.
Came from Ohio State.
And I think Sam Hunt was pretty good. Like, he could shoot. But the number is like 4 or
Out
5.
of like what,
Of-
15?
And at about 15, 20. I mean, I can tell you, we can click
and
through
then
these if we
I
really
totally
wanted
different sport,
to,
but
but I
in
don't.
football, like when Doran brings in a transfer, I mean, recently it's been like
Impactful.
like big time impact.
Yeah.
So I totally different sport. I'm not trying to get on that, topic, but it's just that's an interesting point as far as evaluating the coach as a whole, being able to evaluate that. I mean, like he was able to go and find Terquavian Smith. Nobody recruited Terquavian. I mean,
Yep.
Helms is not a bad player. He just ain't really that great. And
No.
he was able to go get Sebron. I mean, nobody saw Sebron, and I don't think anybody thought Sebron would explode to where he is now. But
No.
Right.
Well,
I mean, that's
and-
kind of what
and-
he's had to work with.
But from a transfer standpoint, it's not been great. I mean, we've had some reliable
For sure.
people, like people that have helped, win some games, but not a stud. Like, I mean, I don't know. That's just my very casual, fast observation that I made this afternoon.
So, all right, y'all. Well, again, thank you so much again for tuning in here with us here for part 1. We will continue this conversation here with part 2 of this. So make sure, again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Give this video a like so more people NC State fans will be able to see this video, and give us a follow, Tuffy Talk, now on Twitter and Instagram. But hey, we'll see you for part 2. As always, go Pack, y'all.
Yeah, go back, guys.